What was that? It's perfect. You want to be that guy? Wow. Wow. Good morning, everyone. I'm the Data Lord. This is Coffee and Crypto on Decentralized TV, where, we drink crypto and talk about coffee. I just like flipping them sometimes. So I hope everyone's doing great. It's Friday. We made it through a week. We hopefully crushed it. If you didn't, then hang out in the Discord and maybe we'll talk about how you can crush it more. Who knows? Also, you might be wondering, how does one get a beard to look thick? Well, there's a thing called a beard comb, and they're amazing. And you can do this, whoop, 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 and then your beard look all thick like. It's crazy. No one knows unless they have a big beard. Who knew? So good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? If you would just say what's up in the chat. Let everyone know that you're a real one and you're showing up. So today, let's get into these market situation. You know, our saga is always developing. SEC, blah, 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 Ripple, blah, 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 FTX, blah, blah, blah. But we actually have some interesting moves today. Interesting. So I want us to look real quick at Tim Market. Let's look at the market. Let's look at it. So over here, we have Bitcoin flirting with that 21. Kind of like that. You know, we certainly hit, what was it, like 15.5 right around there. And right now we're 21. I think we're going down. I don't know. Not financial advice. I'm looking for a buying opportunity in the short term here. We're looking at Ethereum, interestingly, over the 7-day has a pump, but the last 24 hours has been kind of rough. We have reasons for that. We're going to be explaining that story because hot dumpster fire. By the way, I'm almost done being sick, so thank the good Lord above, but being sick is just not my favorite. It's not. We have Binance coin, which is crushing it. You know, being, I say, I'm not coughing and I do. Stupid Brandon. I'm good. I promise. I don't know. So BNB's actually had some interesting developments. You know, they announced their Web3 file storage, which is amazing because, you know, we have IPFS and other, you know, Filecoin's a few others, but the fact that Binance being a big hitter jumping in, that's kind of a big deal because I think it's actually going to be a developer tool that's useful. And who knows, maybe that'll increase Binance adoption in other parts of their ecosystem. So that's why I think we're seeing that 6%. You know, Ripple nipple on still no regulatory clarity. So we're doing the crab walk sideways. Cardano, it's like pronouncing it wrong because it's silly. You know, crab walk, Dogecoin going down, Polygon crushing it, almost 19% up for the 7-day. You see that? And then Solana not crushing it. Looks like they had a retracement. So that's those markets. And then looking over at our big picture, I always want us to zoom out and look at the big picture because we get played, homie. We get played. You understand that? We don't want to get played. We want to play the game and win. So looking at it, we're still in this little box, right? This is the S growth curve for people who are new. You know, we have this box that Bitcoin tends to move within that's influenced by these Bitcoin halvings every 4 years. So every 4 years, if you're not aware, the introduction of supply of Bitcoin gets cut in half. The transaction fees don't, but the introduction of supply does. And so, you know, early on, Bitcoin miners get paid mostly from introduction of supply, and slowly over time, it phases over to be more and more transaction fees because people are using Bitcoin. There's more transactions on the network. So that influences the price though, because new Bitcoins in supply are more rare by exactly half every time these halvings occur. So because of that, typically after the halvings, we see it go up to all-time highs, typically within a year's time. So knowing that, we're right here at the bottom, scraping on the bottom, and that's a good thing. Reason it's a good thing is because we have buying opportunities where, you know, we can get in a really, really good position before we move to all-time highs, most likely according to this model right around 150K in the year 2025, maybe moving into 2026. Right around there, we expect to see, just because of this halving, we expect to see around 150K Bitcoin. So get your bags filled up. Not financial advice, but that's certainly what I'm doing. So that's the markets for the day. Looking at Bitcoin, just in a more zoomed in specific. This is the daily. So each candle represents a day here. And we can see Bitcoin kind of tested this level, got rejected, and we're headed for this level here. This level's got a lot of top confirmations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to bang on that. I'm pretty confident we're going to at least test it. If that fails, probably going down to 18.5. If that fails, probably going down to 15.5. And I'm looking forward to that happening. So, coughing, help. So, our first story for the day. Everyone knows the SEC chair, strangely, Bitcoin Magazine actually posted this. He said something useful. I know it's bizarre, but he really did. And everyone, you can punch me if you don't hear this, but it is come on, zoom in, buddy. There you go. It is captioned. So
when you sign on the dotted line or accept the terms of service, you are generally agreeing that placing your tokens with these providers may mean transferring your ownership to them. There's an expression in crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. When you sign on the dotted.
So apparently our SEC chair is applying for his application for the dirty shovel gang. So I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, if Jerome Powell wants to join the dirty shovel gang, all power to him. You're welcome aboard, buddy. Trust me. We got a jersey for you. We got a hat. You can hang out. It's cool. So who knows what can happen? This world is crazy, and we live in a simulation apparently. So that's I mean, what do you think of that? Our SEC chair flat out telling people, not your keys, not your crypto. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how you feeling about that? Yeah. What's up? What's up, Indo? Good morning, brother. Good to see you as always. So, dirty shovel gang spreading, guys. Hold, hodl. Hold your ground here, and keep holding your keys and telling other people to be in self-custody, because this entire crypto thing is a house of cards if we aren't holding our actual value in private keys. We're not doing that. We probably should be playing with more stable assets like stocks that actually have some legal recourse in most instances. So I'm just hold your keys, guys. Anyways, so John McAfee, our dear friend, he's actually a friend of the channel. RIP John McAfee. No one knows if he's actually dead or not, but everyone kind of thinks he is. Weird things have happened in history. But John McAfee's ghost coin dumps Cardano. Oof. Why? Ouch. For Polygon Matic. I think we know why. So I don't think this is like FUD or shade on Cardano necessarily. I think this is more like an applaud for Polygon Matic, right? Why does Polygon Matic matter? Well, it integrates really nicely with Ethereum. It acts as a side chain, so you don't have to deal with Ethereum problems, but you end up getting a ton of the like value of the ecosystem of Polygon, or I'm sorry, of Ethereum. So that's kind of the deal. Ethereum is the software developer kit for crypto. That's the reality of it. They come up with better tools. They launched the ERC20 tokens. So that was what ICOs were all about. They launched the ERC 721 tokens. That's what NFTs are all about. They launched smart contracts. Like Ethereum does it first. They don't do it best necessarily, but they do it first. And so like the fact that they do that pattern means that there's a ton of developers who jump in there, and there's a lot of money to be had there too. Yeah, Indo says they know crypto's here to stay, and it's only a matter of time before mass adoption jumps on board. He probably owns a good bit of crypto. I'm shocked if most people in our government don't. They have little birdies who talk to them through the grapevine, are like, "Yo, bro, this ship's going down. You need to buy some Bitcoin so you don't get kicked in the nuts." That those conversations happen. I mean, I might even be the guy in the bush talking to them. I don't know. I'm not. I don't hang out in bushes. But let's read the story here. The developer team of Ghostcoin has taken to its Twitter handle, Ghost by McAfee, to announce that it has decided to stop developing its two-way bridge on the Cardano chain and focus on building on Polygon instead. This dude, you seeing this? This little like mascot for Ghost is kind of dope. It's got like Gengar vibes. That's great. Ghost. So excited update from our team. After careful consideration, I believe they are careful. John McAfee's crew's kind of been that way. We've decided to put Cardano development on hold and focus on creating the seamless two-way bridge on Polygon. Stay tuned for more updates on our progress towards bridging the gap in the crypto space. So that's cool. They didn't like throw shade on anyone. They're just like, look, we looked at brass tacks, and hard details said Polygon's the tree we should be barking up. There's squirrels in that tree. So, if I may, the reason behind these decisions were not revealed. We know why. A Twitter user mentioned in the comments that he believes Cardano has the best staking system, so it's a pity that Ghost decided to opt for Polygon rather than Cardano. We'll see. John McAfee's Ghost projects, Coin, Phone Service, and DEX. Ghost is a proof-of-stake privacy coin created by the late crypto mogul John McAfee in 2020 on Ethereum's ERC20 along with the Ghost chain after launching his own decentralized exchange, McAfee DEX, in 2019. Back then, the former antivirus magnate also announced that the coming launch of Ghost McAfee phone data service would help users stay anonymous while making phone calls and make it impossible to trace their phones. That's pretty dope. He wanted to add Ghost to the title of McAfee DEX. All the aforementioned things were meant to be working under the same brand name, Ghost by McAfee. However, the Intel giant sued John for his own name. Why you gotta be like that, Intel? Why you gotta be like that? The thing is, after he created the first antivirus program in the world and named it after himself, he then sold to Intel, his McAfee IT security company. Therefore, John was not allowed to use the name McAfee in relation to his new products. Yeah, that was probably, I see validity in that. So McAfee passes away. Well, we don't know if that's true. Yeah, John McAfee did not kill himself, in case you were wondering. He knew information and people tried to kill him or successfully killed him. We don't know. Ghosts keep building. So in 2021, McAfee sadly committed suicide. That's not true. In a Spanish prison where he had been waiting to be extradited to the U.S. on charges of long-term tax evasion. He took his life by hanging. Not true either. This is an Epstein situation if that happened. Although his widow, Janice, we love you, insists that this was not suicide. Prior to that, he was arrested in Barcelona in 2020 by local police. Right. So, yeah, Indo, what's up? So we should be taking notes on tokens and projects that have pumped well during this little bull. And if it happens to be another bear dump, then it's time to DCA. Yep, that's exactly right. So that is interesting news on the McAfee front. Good reason to be bullish on Polygon, actually. McAfee's team is quite technical, and if they make an assessment, it's probably good technical advice otherwise. But real quick, dude, look how dope. That's nicey nice. Like, a lot of crypto companies don't have very good logos. Like Ghost, I'm into it. That's a vibe, dude. So our next story is about the SEC, not the SUCK. That's different, but not that different. So let's read this. Coinbase to fight SEC in court over staking. So this is our headline for the day. There's certainly some other important stories, but this one should really be noted because whatever Coinbase decides to do and whatever Ripple decides to do will largely inform how this crypto space kind of forms at this regulatory moment. So We don't play games, Paul Grewal, the chief legal officer at Coinbase, stated after the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, announced a settlement with Kraken over staking. The public shouldn't have to parse complaints in the federal court to understand what a regulator expects. That's exactly true. The public shouldn't have to parse complaints in federal court to understand what the regulator expects. That's been exactly what this space has suffered from, is a lack of regulatory clarity. Because the problem is, if you get it wrong, right? If you get it wrong, they're going to punish you for it. And if you get it right, you had no idea that you got it right. So you just have to like do the best you can with the knowledge you have and like use logic to see what the safer thing would be, and hope that whatever you spend money on and whatever you start building is going to be in line with those regulations, or you're going to have the capacity to pivot to be compliant, because otherwise you're just going to get kicked in the nuts repeatedly. And, no one wants that. Maybe some people want that, but that's their fetish. The SEC stated, excuse me, SEC stated that part of the staking rewards at Kraken were due to Kraken strategies to obtain regular investment returns and payouts. Right. These products are basically yield products, Grewal said, pointing out that at Coinbase, it is straight talking. Our customers have a right to their rewards. We can't just decide to not pay any rewards at all. Fair point. Jesse Powell, the founder of Kraken, said he thinks these differences are minor. I don't think any minor differences matter to the SEC, which views all forms of custody staking as problematic. So, yeah, I have opinions about this that we'll talk about after this. So Grewal, however, has made it clear that in his view, managed staking is not a security, stating staking is not a security. Validators form no horizontal communities or commonality. There's no vertical commonality either. Validators don't expect rewards from the significant managerial efforts of other validators. They expect rewards primarily from their own efforts and funds. I agree with that. Kraken has stopped providing staking services to U.S. customers, whether rich or not, with its what is this saying? With it technically currently unclear, I don't like that language, how they stop it this is so bad. How they stop it as such, because currently you cannot unlock Ethereum staking until unlock upgrades sometimes next month, potentially. Yeah. If Kraken actually stops, therefore, there will be slashed and their customers will lose a lot of money, making this very bad timing from the SEC. Agreed. It may well be that they're stopping for new customers while staking offers at Kraken continue as usual in Europe and the rest of the world. For Coinbase, they continue in the US too. This is a publicly traded company, and their chief legal officer is of the view that staking is not a security. So Coinbase has no choice but to go to court if the SEC approaches, unless they want action by their shareholders. Interesting. Kraken is not publicly traded. That they opted for settlement, however, considering the crypto industry is and has been since 2018 under a regulatory attack, and considering settlements are SEC strategy of making law in effect while bypassing the courts, is surprising. So, risk adjustment returns was Powell's reply when asked why he didn't fight. That calculation was based on such returns just for his company rather than the entire crypto industry, with Powell stating, bigger balance sheet wouldn't hurt either. They picked the bottom of the bear market, waited for us to do a 30% layoff. They have all our financials, lots of leverage. Maybe we look weak. That's predatory. I hate that. Coinbase has billions in cash, but the current SEC chair is following a strategy pioneered by none other than Vladimir Putin. That is managed chaos. Rather than opening proposed rulings of public consideration with a careful thought out guidance then provided, SEC chooses to sow confusion, fear, chaos, through which they aim to effectively break their subject and make them subdue. A strategy of subjugation is in the open daylight in modern United States. We won't innovate for you. Peasants. I love that. We will force one rule for the rich and another for the rest. Coinbase and Silicon Valley, however, know very well this is or what's going on. So hopefully here, too, this strategy of managed chaos will spectacularly backfire as it did for Bush and now a very isolated Putin. So, wow. Wrong one. This story is like kind of hot pockets for real. This is interesting. So, a few things. So custodial staking. That's one topic that this went over. I have strong opinions on this. Here's my opinion on it. So custodial staking means that you are saying, hey, Kraken, here's some money I have. I don't have private keys. You have private keys, but you're promising that you'll give me, credit fund bucks that later I can pull into crypto. And then I can hold private keys. So I don't like this concept in the first place that you're even giving up your private keys. There are platforms, and I'm personally, I'll spill beans here. I'm personally building some tools with some other friends that we've gotten together with the Bitcoin Pub to make something that's focused on non-custodial staking. So you are personally holding your own keys. No one else ever has your private keys unless you give it to them. And so the whole way this works is you're able to basically point your infrastructure, or sorry, your coins at someone else's infrastructure and trust that they are decentralized and they're going to pay on time. And the only risk you take is the concept of like, if they don't pay you on time, that's a risk. But your actual original stake in the first place, totally good. So it's just opportunity cost that you're risking. Everything else is totally on you. So I want to empower people that way. I like this is so principle for me. Like you have to hold your keys. You need to hold your keys, because if you do, you are going to end up ahead and you're not going to have to trust someone else to treat you right. Right. And so if you can earn in the meantime, that's kind of a big deal. So don't leave your money on the exchanges. Don't. If you are, stop it. Get some help. If you link in the description, we have a link to a Ledger hardware wallet in case you don't have one, just a little crypto wallet. You're able to hold your private key securely on there, easily sign transactions if you want to use it by plugging it into your computer. If you have questions on how to use that, let us know and we'll educate properly. But let's talk to our community. What is up? Gundy, love you, bro. Happy Friday to you, guy. Yeah, Boston, what's up, brother? Appreciate you. Yeah, too real. Good morning, early adopters. We were saying on Wednesday that anyone who's in this space right now, if you're chilling here on Decentralized TV with me right now, you are likely the very last graduating crypto class of early adopters. Everyone after us is probably going to be an early majority. They're not going to be early adopters anymore. So please hear that. You have a badge of honor. You'll be respected as a real one. Of course, if you're active in the chat here, I give shout outs. You have video proof that you were a real one and you were present there. So you can call back to that. And who knows, maybe there'll be NFTs, or I don't know, maybe there'll be some sort of badge of honor that you'll end up getting if you're active in the chat here. So, I'm not saying something, but maybe I'm saying something. So, Gundy, what is up, boy? Yeah, love it on Indo. This is the last class of early adopters. Got paid today. It's time to do some DCA. That's real. I did too. So, cheers to you. If anyone's new to the space and they don't know what DCA is, DCA stands for dollar cost average. What it means is you're not worried about buying crypto at the highest high or the lowest low. What you do is, as a principle, you say, you know what? Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, and I'm going to play the middle like a fiddle. And maybe sometimes crypto's lower than usual, and I'll, scoop up a bigger bag there. But the whole idea here is like you know that you might struggle with emotions, right? Yeah, what's up, trillionaire? Always DCA. So this principle here is that you are saying, you know what, I know I'm emotional. I know like when crypto goes super, super high, I'm selling my like car. I'm like asking my wife if we can like, put things on the credit card so I can have maybe some extra cash. Like people are doing that kind of stuff, right? And then when we are like instead over on low lows, people are like, man, I don't know if I should even be here. Maybe I should sell. Maybe I should just get out while, before I lose even more. And so humans have this emotional response to the markets. Unless you are really, really disciplined and looking at key indicators and taking those risks yourself. And I don't think most people should, because that's a lot of effort to invest. I think instead it makes way more sense for the average person to have the majority of their position be just DCA. So every Friday, whatever your payday is, just like it's like tithing pretty much to your future. You're just like, you know what, 10% or whatever the amount is, maybe like $50, $100, $200. You're taking that money, you're putting into Bitcoin, and you're making sure you're holding your private keys, and you're not sweating what the cost was. You just hold it. Like I look back, if I would have done that instead of just been like hyper experimental, which that's my nature, I would be sitting fat right now. I'm telling you, like not like overweight, but like I'd have a lot of money. I'd have like maybe 3-digit Bitcoin. I don't know. I'd have a lot of money. So because I've been in this space for a long time. So that's my recommendation to you though. DCA is a tried and true way to protect yourself against yourself. Don't play yourself, homie. Right. So appreciate everyone hanging out today. Mass love to the family. We got another story here. Someone got pwned. Somebody got pwned. Let me show you. You got pwned. What's pwned? It means properly owned. It's a hacker term. They got hacked. The block reports DeForce protocol drained of 3.6 million. Oof. In a re-entrancy attack. I hate coughing. I'm almost done with it. I'm really stoked. So why is this important? Someone got pwned, and we need to look at why they got pwned so we can see are other platforms that we play around with susceptible to these types of attacks, right? We want to grow up in our thinking and be able to look out for real threats in the space. So a hacker siphoned more than 3.6 million from the decentralized finance DeFi protocol DeForce in what appears to be a re-entrancy attack on a Curve vault. It operated on the Arbitrum and Optimism blockchains. The DeFi project confirmed that the incident confirmed the incident in a Twitter post, adding that it has paused its contracts to prevent further damage. That's always what they got to do. Whenever some hack is happening, they have to just like lock it down so people can't spend stuff. So that's why you should hold your private keys. Anyways, the attack was seemingly unable to, or I'm tripping. The attack was seemingly enabled by a re-entrancy vulnerability, which can occur when an attacker repeatedly invokes a smart contract function and then extracts assets from it before the contract updates its internal state. This can happen when there's a bug in the smart contract code or a lack of proper security measures. So on February 10th, our WST ETH curve vaults on Arbitrum and Optimism were exploited, and we immediately paused all vaults. The vulnerability is identified, and then the exploit was specific to DeForce's WST ETH, the team noted. According to two leading crypto security firms, BlockSec and PeckShield, so shoutouts BlockSec, shoutouts PeckShield, total losses from the attack were about 3.6 million. The re-entrancy bug was present in a smart contract function used by DeForce to calculate Oracle prices on Arbitrum and Optimism chains when connected to Curve Finance. The specific function known as a get virtual price is a command that gives an estimated Oracle price and can be invoked by a protocol when connected to Curve. It is used to calculate the price of liquidity pool token. So Matthew Zhang, director of security services at BlockSec, told the block that any protocol using the get virtual price function to calculate the price oracle is vulnerable. You hear that? We literally have our prescription. So the takeaway here that everyone's kind of got to note is we as a community we need to be hunting for smart contracts that have this function, and we have tools to do that. There's like AI tools and search tools to do that. Indo, this fella here, exactly right. He, if anyone doesn't know, he works for a really interesting organization called Rug Pull Finder. Rug Pull Finder does investigations on a lot of stuff like this, but specifically focused on NFT scams. So very similar types of investigative research, but different focus. So if anyone's interested, if an NFT scam is going on, hit up Indo. Check out Rug Pull Finder. They're real ones. So shout out to Indo. So still, project needs to be more cautious and take additional steps while estimating Oracle prices, right? As they can be manipulated by malicious actors to carry out re-entrancy attacks. So this is kind of how a lot of kids back when were hacking video games, right? Like a lot of times you can hack a video game by just like spamming a button really fast, and you end up giving it too many commands that it can't take it, and you can kind of break the intended like order of operations. You remember back in school PEMDAS, so like the whole order of operations concept that we do, parentheses, exponents, was PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, gangster. In that order though. That's kind of how software works. You end up having like instructions that are kind of like listed in order, and they have an intended order, but sometimes if there is a delay that the developer didn't expect to be there, and there wasn't like some catch function to make sure that people couldn't exploit that, what will happen is people will spam something that'll end up kind of lagging, and things will get out of order, and they'll be able to do stuff that the developers didn't intend for people to be able to do. So like that's the level of thinking that sophisticated attackers are looking at. And in software, there's typically a team called QA, quality assurance. And QA teams will try to push these types of attacks. They'll because they're known. We've seen some people get pwned by these types of things. They have a whole bunch of different tests that they'll set up, and they'll do like injection tests and weird character injections, and just do everything that they can think to do that's been demonstrated in history to see if we can get this piggy to squeal. If we can, then we know, okay, hey, here's a QA report, software developer, I need you to create some security measures that will account for these things happening, because I was able to make your tool do things you didn't intend. So just for people who aren't software developers or don't work closely with software developers, that's some perspective that might be helpful. So how do we protect ourselves from this type of attack? Well, good question. Thank you, Brandon. It's a joke. We are to be very careful when we're copying code, and be very careful when you're looking at projects, because other teams will tend to be kind of lazy. And I've personally seen this firsthand, where people will go on GitHub or go on GitLab, and they'll find some code that does something kind of similar to whatever they're trying to do. And that's fine. But instead of referencing that code and going, okay, they're doing this and this and this, okay, I'll do something similar. Instead, they copy and paste it. They copy and paste it. Like, how would that fly in English class back when you were in school? If you just like copied and pasted Cliff Notes and just turn that in, you think your teachers aren't dumb? Teachers went through school. They played that same game. You know what I mean? And so coughing, dope. So that's like the concept though. Like, instead of teachers, you're talking about hackers. And so you'll have people who will literally copy and paste to GitHub. They'll change a few parameters on it and be like, look, I made a project. I did it. And like, kinda, but what if like that parent project gets pwned? What happens? Well, they're going to look for everyone who forked that code, and it's listed on GitHub, and they're like, oh, look, this fella forked this code we already pwned. Let's see if they changed the thing that the vulnerability we exploited. Hey, look, they didn't pwn. And they can just hit you. So like, people have to think at a higher level. Like you need to actually know what you're doing. You can't just copy and paste and act like you know what you're doing, because everyone's going to look really stupid if you're not actually protecting your neck in that way. So yeah, dude, yeah, don't die. Don't get played. So this is the type of value I'm looking to really bring this community on this specific show. So on Crypto and Coffee, I'm really looking to explore these concepts. I'm really sure that we're talking deep about architecture and software development and like these deeper principles that most people don't have the stomach for, but once they get pwned, they will have the stomach for. You're going to be so much further ahead in your comprehension of this space because, like, I'm hungry to know this stuff myself, and I love this community so much. And if you care about someone and you know they can get played in a certain way, you're going to let them know. So I'm hoping to make sure that I'm able to educate in that way, but also hang out with the crew and just kind of have it be like some family time too. We can, you know, enjoy each other's presence, but also learn. So that's my spiel. I'll get moving along. So next story, also from the block. They've been crushing it lately, by the way. So is the flu that I got. That was dope. I've just been coughing, crushing it. So Binance deploys ZK Snarks on proof of reserve system. So why is this a big deal? Well, basically Binance is making sure that proof of reserve system is proven legit. So they have proof of reserves is kind of the concept. So we'll talk about what proof of reserves are and why they're important too. So getting into the story. Binance, the largest centralized cryptocurrency exchange by volume, has incorporated a type of zero-knowledge proofs called ZK Snarks into its proof of reserves verification. This is to attest that funds held on the platform are backed one-to-one by preserving the privacy of sensitive user data. Currently, this updated proof of reserves system supports verifying the exchange's reserves for 13 different crypto assets. The exchange made this addition in response to growing concerns from investors about the safety of their funds on cryptocurrency exchanges. Binance had previously released a proof of reserve system solely based on Merkle tree, a data structure used in cryptography that can be used for verification. The Binance team found the Merkle tree-based system alone was not ideal for user privacy, so it added support for zero-knowledge proofs. That's what ZK stands for, by the way, zero knowledge. Continuing the efforts in providing transparency on user funds, Binance is excited to introduce ZK Snarks, a zero knowledge verification method for keeping sensitive information private and more secure to its proof of reserve verification system, the exchange said. ZK Snarks is a cryptographic tool for verifying or proving certain information without actually showing or revealing that information, or what that information is. Binance has also decided to make ZK Snark software open source, allowing anyone to review the code. That is such a good idea. Thank you, Binance. Good move. Trust but verify. Let's go. You know, the team maintains that by making it open source, it can build greater trust on the platform. Too real. So, too real. Back to the show. So, yeah, clap it up, baby. That's what we want, right? Yeah. What's up, Shay? So, few things here. If an exchange is going to be centralized, meaning you aren't holding your private keys while your stuff's on their platform, they at least owe you an explanation of why you should trust them. Because the rug pull that's happened on exchanges is basically a bank run where the exchange doesn't keep that money on hand. And so if you're like, yo, I need to withdraw this, they're like, well, we don't got it, so we got to buy it. So sorry, we're under system maintenance. And then, you know, you're at their mercy for however long it takes them to actually get the amount of crypto necessary to fulfill your request. And so you're locked up, buddy. You can't get your money. You can't move it around. You can play around on their Chuck E. Cheese games, but you can't actually, take your money, and you have no sovereignty over it. So that's a problem, right? Like, that's the whole value of crypto. I thought that's how that worked. Well, it only works that way if you're holding your private keys. And so it's cool that at the very least, if we're not going to be a decentralized exchange, which is called a DEX, if we're not going to do that as Binance, at very least Binance is doing ZK Snark. So they're like, yo, you can literally audit our system for auditing the fact that we really do have the amount we say we have. So if you're going to use an exchange for periods of time just to do some trading and actually like fork over your private keys for a period of time. At very least, they're validating they have the funds to be able to pay you back. At very least. Now that being said, I really think people should default to using decentralized exchanges, and we should put a demand and a pressure on the whole space to really start moving things into a decentralized, method and not a centralized exchange method. But there are some complexities that just have to be worked over to make a DEX an easy experience that like the average person can use without being stressed out. So at very least, props for Binance setting that bar, saying, look, we know our whole value proposition comes from people trusting us because we're requiring them to give us their private keys. So what's up? Hey, we got an OG. What's up, Doge Lord Coffee? Love you, bro. If anyone does like coffee, we are a coffee channel too. You want to support another crypto homie? Doge Lord Coffee has really, really awesome coffee. You can check out their channel and website, whatnot. Feel free to drop that in the chat there, Doge Lord. But yeah, so support your local crypto nerds, and you'll find it coming back to you at some point. So, getting into our next story, Ripple Nipple. So, Ripple CEO lauds energizing global regulatory progress amid SEC offensive. That's not a good title, but that's just what they have. So, as fears are mounting over the recent actions of United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, in cryptocurrency sector, the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, has tried to put the community at ease by drawing attention to positive regulatory efforts in other countries. Indeed, Garlinghouse described as energizing the number of positive global regulatory developments in the world in just the last few weeks. In the face of the offensive that crypto market is currently experiencing in the US, according to his Twitter thread on February 9th. So it reads, stepping back for a moment. Oh my goodness, I clicked on it. Why did I do that? Stepping back for a moment from what's happening in the US, just in the last few weeks, the number of positive, or at least headed in the direction of clarity, global regulatory events is energizing. That's true. And we've been following that here on this show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that it feels like we're getting a little bit closer to, at very least, having some clarity. Even if it's not the clarity we want, we can at least it's like better the devil you know than the devil you don't. It's that concept, right? Yeah. Site's down for maintenance, but they'll bring it back soon. Buy the drip. What's up, boys? So, yeah, I think that's encouraging, and it's cool to hear that from Brad Garlinghouse. I'm coughing, and I'm the data lord. So, advanced crypto regulation worldwide, specifically the Ripple CEO, started off with the example of Dubai, which has just published an extensive set of tech-agnostic rulebooks for crypto market participants, covering compliance standards, advertising, issuance, and much more, continuing its history of being tech-forward. That's nice. Good job. I mean, I'm not vibing on Ripple, but at very least, I'm glad they brought this comment up. Yeah, Dubai, shout outs to Dubai. They're at very least crypto forward. They're taking this serious and documenting it so people can actually build without thinking later they're going to get punished for what they did, right? So furthermore, he also highlighted the fact that the Treasury of Australia was seeking ways to reform licensing and custody for crypto and improve consumer protection, as it issued a token mapping consultation and urged the public to provide feedback before updating the existing frameworks. Yeah, maybe. From what I know about Australia, asking for feedback is kind of we asked, we considered it, but we did what we wanted anyway. As for the United Kingdom, Garlinghouse stressed the publications of a new consultation by its finance ministry, which reflects the government's intent to establish proportionate, clear framework that allows firms to innovate while maintaining financial stability. So at the same time, he drew attention to the efforts of the South Korean Financial Service Commission, which recently published guidelines outlining what would be considered a security token versus payment token and how those are separately governed. Finally, on the other side of the world, Brazil's president, shout out to Brazil, guys, love to you. Brazil's president, Jair Bolsonaro, hope that I said that right. If not, I'll correct it later, was recently signed a new legislative framework that legalizes the use of cryptocurrencies as payment within the country, although it does not yet make crypto legal tender. So that's in the right direction, though, like this article is saying. So one thing in common for all these countries and their regulators, Garlinghouse said, is the fact that they are providing leadership and are doing work that we are desperately missing in the US. Unsurprisingly, this is where companies like Ripple are growing. Yeah, very interesting. So meanwhile, in the United States of as a reminder, the crypto world has recently shaken by the news of SEC charging the crypto trading platform Kraken with security fraud, which led to the crypto exchange suspending its staking services for US customers. In the meantime, Ripple is struggling with the US regulators in a wide publicized lawsuit in which SEC is accusing the blockchain company of illegally selling XRP token. The regulator was criticized for treating Ripple like a Ponzi scheme as the market awaits the court's decision and its impact on the price of XRP. So that's really useful just to see like all these different pieces that are moving along. Like we have a lot of cases where things are moving forward progressively. We're not there yet, but at very least, like we have people's attention and we're moving in the right direction. So what are things that are tried and true and worthy of you building on without getting an arrow to the knee later on? Shout out Skyrim. Good question. So holding your own private keys is always going to be favored in a regulatory way, because the questions really come from like when you are a company holding someone's value and then giving them a yield on their value, you're taking on the position of a broker, right? You're acting like a custodian because you are in custody of their money. So examples of organizations that are custodial and will help you make more money. There's like, Edward Jones and, those other types of financial advisors. They do great work. They help people get yield on their money in the traditional markets, right? But at no point do you have private keys, to your assets. Like it's backed by the government. The SEC like holds people responsible for all these things, but there's no like, you're still trusting them to do the right thing, right? As opposed to like in crypto, we don't have to do that. We can just hold our own private keys, not have to trust any third party. And if we're doing that, and we can find ways to be earning yield, or even if you're just DCAing, you're technically not earning yield, but you're making money in the same way, just as the markets move. These are the types of like conversations we're trying to have. And I'm personally getting behind and personally trying to build platforms that support this type of personal sovereignty, right? Because that's the whole value prop of this space. If we don't hold our private keys, we're getting played. Like we're no better than the problems we're setting out to solve. So, yeah. Looking at our next story, also related. This is the last story of the day, by the way. Shout outs to everyone who made it here. Ethereum's price risk 20% correction amid SEC crackdown on crypto staking. So Ethereum may experience a drop in user activity alongside ETH price. And we already saw this with Ghost, for example, moving from Cardano over to ETH, right? I'm sorry, over to Polygon. The same concept. Ethereum may experience a drop in user activity alongside ETH price, with crypto staking in the crosshairs of the SEC. So Ethereum's native token, Ether, saw its worst daily performance of the year as the SEC stopped Kraken, a cryptocurrency exchange, from offering crypto staking services. Mind you, these are custodial crypto staking services. That's the caveat. On February 9th, Kraken agreed to pay $30 million to settle the SEC's allegation that it broke security rules by offering crypto staking services to U.S. retail investors. In particular, the news pushed down the price of many proof-of-stake blockchain project tokens. Ethereum, which switched to staking-based protocol in 2022 of September, also suffered. On February 9th, Ethereum's price plunged nearly 6.5% to around $1,500, the largest single-day decline since December 16th of last year. And looking at this, it's not that impressive. It's just this little tiny hairball here. So will Ethereum staking survive the SEC crackdown? The SEC's crackdown on crypto staking begins as Ethereum awaits the release of its key network upgrade dubbed Shanghai in March. The update will, and by the way, this network upgrade was successful on testnet. So I think March is actually probably accurate. The update will finally allow Ether validators, entities that have locked approximately 25.6 billion worth of ETH tokens in Ethereum's proof of stake smart contract, to withdraw their assets alongside yield rewards. So real quick with this part, I personally, and a lot of other people in my similar shoes, thought that ETH was going to take a whole lot longer to, one, merge proof of stake, and two, get to the point where this upgrade actually goes into effect and people's ETH that they locked in, their ETH 2.0, is actually like liquid. So if the Ethereum team pulls this off, shout out to the Ethereum team. Like this is really fast deployment, and that at least shows a seriousness from you guys that we want to see. So as a result, multiple analysts, including Bitwise Asset Management Chief Investment Officer Matt Hogan, considers Shanghai a bullish event for Ether. Absolutely. This is basically making it so that ETH is fulfilling its roadmap properly. And that's what makes a crypto, by the way, that's what makes a crypto project valuable. If they have a roadmap and they stick to their roadmap, it means their roadmap's not BS. It's legit. And so you can speculate on them continuing to add value to their platform and actually meet reasonable timeframes. So that's why roadmaps are so important, and that's why companies and projects should be really careful about their roadmaps. Make sure you don't overcommit on your roadmap, and make sure you speak to what you have implemented and what you're going to implement or planning to implement, and use that language. Don't get ahead of yourself and say that you're further along than you are. And typically that happens whenever like parts of your organization, like the people who are doing the marketing and the people doing the building, aren't on the same page. So, please, my advice to any team who's building is be on the same page together. Have those alignment meetings and then publicly talk about stuff. Don't get ahead of yourself. So real talk. Back to the show. So, today many investors who would like to stake ETH and earn yield rewards are sitting on the sidelines. After all, most investment strategies can't tolerate an indefinite lockup. So most investors stay out of the market, but once that indefinite lockup's removed, the percentage of investors willing to stake their ETH will explode. That's absolutely true. The other nuance to pay attention to with ETH, like it's expensive to stake on ETH. Legit, like if you want to be custodial, like if you want to have self-custody over your coins and you still want to stake ETH, you have to stake 32 Ethereum. 32 ETH is the minimum and maximum amount you can stake to a node. So you have to build a node, which is actually kind of expensive. Really, like there's a lot of requirements for an ETH node. And then once you've built that node, you lock in 32 ETH and you can't spend them. And you're just hoping at some point you can actually move that yield. And the Shanghai release is going to make it so people can actually, commit the unlock to their staking node. It becomes on cooldown, and once that cooldown's expired, then their funds are theirs. They're no longer staked. They're now liquid, and they can spend what they need to, which means they can invest their yield into other things as they need. So a lot of companies are bleeding right now because they got blue balls, man. Their money's locked up in staking things that have a cooldown. So anyways, back to the show. So most investors stay out of the markets, but once the indefinite lockup is removed, the percentage of investors willing to stake the ETH will explode. But doubts have emerged about the future of crypto staking in the US, with Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase crypto exchange, fearing that the SEC would ban staking for retail investors in the future. So yeah, Brian saying, we're hearing rumors. Oh my goodness, I clicked on it again. Why do I do that? It opens new tabs when I click on stuff. So we're hearing rumors that the SEC would like to get rid of crypto staking in the US for retail customers. I hope that's not the case, as I believe it would be a terrible path for the US if that was allowed to happen. Yeah, Brian, I'm with you on that, bro. That's real. Moreover, some analysts arguing that banning ETH staking services will force users to move away from Ethereum. And I think that would happen. There's a lot of big money in Ethereum, so I don't think that's likely to happen. But smarter people have done stupider things. So notably, Ethereum requires stakers to deposit 32 ETH. That's what I was saying, which is currently around 50K into its POS smart contract to be a validator. As a result, retail investors often use third-party staking services that pull smaller amounts of ETH to enable validator status. So, real quick, how does that work? Whenever, third-party services, there's a bunch of them. Basically, typically, if it's done right, there's a smart contract that says, if you commit your funds here, then after this ETH staking occurs, you'll be paid X percentage of these yields and they'll be returned to this wallet. So you end up shaking on a smart contract, which is great because a smart contract allows you to be able to make some like uniquely cut deals and know that no one can kind of sidestep the deal. So that's all good. But just the same, in my opinion, it'd be better if ETH would just have that native and not have to rely on other people creating middleware to make that happen. So I think that was a big old shoot and a miss from ETH. Like why, right? So if the SEC bans crypto staking for the public, then a majority of Ethereum validators will have to come down, argues independent analyst Ripple Van Winkle. What a silly name. My name is Ripple Van Winkle. Shout outs to your parents for naming you that and thinking it was cool. Adding, because you need 32 ETH to stake, which means ETH network's going to experience issues. Yep, that's true. ETH price sees bearish rejection. So from a technical perspective, Ether price is positioned for a potential 20% correction in February. Notably, on the daily chart, ETH price has been undergoing a pullback move after testing its multi-month descending trend line as a resistance, and now holds the 200-day exponential moving average, the 200-day EMA, the blue wave, near 1,525 bucks as support. So Ether risks dropping below the 200-day EMA support wave owing to its negative market fundamentals. Such a scenario includes the next downside target of 1,200, which coincides with a multi-month ascending trendline support. So we'll see what happens. Because there's that trendline support, maybe it bounces right off it. But anyways, ETH is a little bit in turmoil if they don't get this figured out. Like that's the real talk on this, right? Like ETH needs to seriously consider changing that 32 ETH requirement, because they're going to get a ton of people locked out of the party, and other companies like, other staking platforms that are proof of stake, they're going to kick ETH's ass. It's just going to happen. They're going to rip past them so fast, because if people are like, well, I don't want to lock up $50,000 as a minimum, and if I want to go more than that, I need another $50,000, or I can trust a middleware party and hope that works like they say it does. So I hope you see the dilemma here. Other people are just gonna be like, well, what about Tezos? I can literally go on Tezos right now and I can find a validator that accepts any amount of money. I can throw my money there and I can earn pretty similar yields to ETH, if not better. And if I'm doing that, I'm personally holding my own keys. I'm personally able to stake to this node. I'm personally able to get a yield, and it supports NFTs. It supports a bunch of things. I don't know why. Indo, I appreciate these questions here, brother. What do you think the amount should be? I don't think there should be a minimum. I think the way it should work is you should be able to have like pools of nodes, and you should be able to have people throw their money at the pool and it just distributes it accordingly. That's kind of how I like, as an architect, that's how I would design it. But why did they decide on 32 ETH? I don't know. It's probably religious significance or something. They have some pentagram in Washington D.C. or something that it coincides. I'm just joking, but I don't know. It seems like a really stupid random round number that they picked. But what I think happened is some guy found some really good purple kush and was sitting on a couch playing Super Mario Brothers with his buddy and was like, you know what I think we should do? I think we should have 32 ETH, bro. I love that number. I know. My guess is like some conversation like that transpired and they just white papered it, but who knows? But anyways, if you would leave a like, leave a comment. That really helps us grow and make sure we're able to reach more people and let them know what's really happening in the crypto space and give them some truly big brain, educated understanding of what they're looking at. That makes the whole space get better. So if you would like, comment, subscribe, show some love. We'll be back on Monday. I'm the Data Lord. Thank you for joining me for Crypto and Coffee. Until next time, keep calm, huddle on. Huddle on. Do it. See you later.